Hello, this is Jenny in the Sanctuary on Esoteric Online. This week I've got Steve Mitchell with me, who's becoming a bit of a regular feature on the show, and today he's going to talk to us about earth energies and ley lines. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jenny.
If you could perhaps start by telling us a little bit about the history of ley lines, because although obviously they're ancient in origin, they were only really rediscovered at the beginning of the 20th century, weren't they?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, all this rediscovering things. It's a bit like Columbo kind of finding America, isn't it? You know, people have been there before, people have been there a long time. I think the issue with all this kind of esoteric, if you like, or occult as it's labelled, which just means hidden, knowledge is that it is literally hidden. People kind of either hide it or it gets hidden for a number of reasons, whether it's religious, whether it's spiritual, whether it's persecution. So the knowledge of ley lines has been there since ever, forever.
The dawn
Absolutely,
of time.
the dawn of time, and I'll explain why in a minute. 1921, I think, is where you're roughly referring to Alfred Watkins. He wrote a book called The Old Straight Track. The trick with Alfred Watkins was he used to work for his dad, and he used to kind of go out on deliveries and stuff. And allegedly, I mean, there's various different stories told. He was sitting up on top of a hill and kind of had a revelation, or he was looking at a map and had a kind of thought and so forth. Alfred says kind of in his own words that it came as a kind of inspiration, if you like, that he noticed that certain important landmarks seemed to be in a straight line, hence the old straight track.
Now, when you're talking about landmarks, you're talking about prehistoric sites, aren't you?
Absolutely, and kind of not as well, because then there's another key in. Prehistoric sites in terms of stone circles, burial mounds, cairns and so forth. Added on top of that, churches, crossroads, tracks,
hills,
roads,
high ground.
hills, high grounds.
The list goes on and on.
The list goes on and on, really, yeah, absolutely. It all really ties into this kind of weird word, ley and ley. Do you know what ley means?
Well, in my extensive research that I carried out, it's something to do with a bit of cleared land, isn't it, in a straight line?
A bit of cleared land, yeah, that's one of the keys. It also ties in etymologically to the word bright or light or bonfire, bell, ley.
Right, so it's got the fire connections as well.
Loads of hidden things. And that's kind of one of the keys that a lot of people started off with, I suppose. I think you've kind of come across your own fortune, haven't you?
That's right, yeah. In the Goatfoot God, I think she was one of the first to put forward the more mystical side of the ley line and the fact that there could be a power or an energy attached to it.
Yeah, because of course Alfred was just really looking... Alfred. First name terms, good guy, yeah.
He was a geographer, wasn't he? He was more of a cartographer.
He was kind of just looking at the fact that, hey, why are they in straight lines?
There became lots of connections with aliens, UFOs...
That sort of stuff. I think you need to go back in time a long time, back to the very beginning to kind of actually put it all into place.
Go on then. In the beginning, it's the best place to start.
In the beginning there was...
The word?
The word, the sound. It's kind of something to hang on to it, because it's... What is sound?
Sound is vibration, frequency.
Right, okay, vibration, frequency. Big, super keyword, frequency. Okay.
Do you want to expand on that a bit?
I will do. In the beginning was the word, okay, we've all heard the phrase, this is straight from a DVD. You have to put the DVD link here, because otherwise I'm going to be kind of back-referencing it all the time, you see. Okay,
well, now is probably a very good time to just mention that Steve has just completed work on a DVD called Dragons and Rings, which is addressing this whole subject in
Absolutely.
its entirety. Available from all good now. Available online, I believe. We'll give you the website later.
Yes, we'll give you the website later. The point is, what's our starting point? What's our 0 point? What's the 0 point of the universe, if you like? The 0 point is literally zero. It's nothing. Okay, and if nothing can think of Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Mm-hmm. How is it thinking? What's it referencing?
Just within itself.
Within itself. But it has to have a kind of external reference point to reference back to within itself, doesn't it? So within itself, it kind of double points. It's a really kind of weird thing to get your head around. Imagine 2 points. You think, therefore you are. It comes back to you. It's like looking in a mirror.
So when do you get with a straight line?
You're jumping.
Sorry.
You're jumping. You've seen
Sorry,
the,
I've seen
you've
the, I've
seen
seen,
the
yeah,
DVD.
do that again.
No, that's absolutely fine, because this is the point. The first point is that there are 2 points, okay? Those 2 points are the reference points for each other. For one thing to know it exists, if you like, it has to have the other thing. Now, this ties right the way forwards into quantum thought. The quantum mechanic thinks that the quantum unit, if you like, the real basics of the universe, quantum physics thinks are a quark, okay?
Right.
A quark, a single unit, a single nothing, except...
A single nothing, did you say?
A single... It's that small, yeah, infinitely small, but it must be something, mustn't it?
Well, it must, otherwise it wouldn't have a name.
Here we go. A quark is made up of 2 units which vibrate.
Yes.
Okay, think of our light and our sound that we were talking about earlier on. Okay,
Got that.
because they vibrate, they are pure energy, pure frequency.
Right.
But they give the impression of being matter by creating the vibration which creates a physical response. Hang on to that thought.
Okay, okay.
Go on, you were going to say like a...
Well, that's slightly confusing me, because then you'd say that sound would work in the same way.
It does.
Okay.
And that's where we get really... This is... I'm not going to... We won't have time to go that far forwards. Let's drop that for a second. We'll come back to the quarks in a second. Right. Just serves as an example, kind of on a piece of paper, if you like, just hanging up there for a second, these 2 points. For now, there are 2 reference points. What I'm actually referring into, really, is Pythagoras, Plato, all this sort of stuff. Even before that, goes way back into Egyptians, goes way back before then. But the kind of accepted point of this kind of philosophy, Pythagorean philosophy, is that there's a basic starting point, a 0 point, if you like. For that point to exist, it has to have another point to reference itself to. 2 points. Then, exactly like you say, join those 2 points together, you have a line. Okay, we've gone round and round in circles. The line itself, how do you know how long a line is?
You don't.
The point about the line is it can only be measured.
If you then get another point of reference.
Okay. The point of reference itself, imagine, just draw yourself, if you're listening to this, get yourself a piece of paper and put 1 point on the paper and another point on the paper. So it's kind of in front of you so you can see it. Join those 2 points together, okay? So you've got a line. To know how long that line is, put a 3rd point above it, join the point to one end and then the other end of the line.
So you end up with a
triangle. So you end up
triangle.
with a triangle. Now, this leads to some really interesting stuff.
This is sounding Pythagorean now, yeah.
We're into Pythagoras. Triangles. Triangles, really important. You know how long the line is because you know how long that line is in reference to the other 2 lines. It might be half the length of the line. It might be twice the length of the line. Okay? So you can create a unit now.
Right.
That unit can be meters. It could be centimeters. It could be inches. It could be hertz. It could be quasars. It could be anything you like. Caboodle-oodlinks. It doesn't matter because it's actually referential. Okay?
Okay.
So if you drop a line down from that top point of the triangle to the line below it, you've created a tangent.
That's the tan button on a calculator, isn't it? It's finally
absolutely,
clicked. Yes.
Yay, yoo-hoo.
Never did well with trigonometry.
But that's the whole basis of that's the basis of the universe. Okay, think what you've also got. Imagine you've done this on a piece of paper, haven't you? Yes. So on your piece of paper, you have a triangle drawn. Okay. Now the first line that you drew was effectively a single-dimensional line. It was only a line, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Now you've got the other lines in place. How many dimensions are you working in?
Got 2 dimensions.
2 dimensions. You're working on a flat piece of paper. 2-dimensional. So you brought in the whole dimensional stuff. You brought in the tangent or the right angles, L.
Yes.
Okay. The
yes.
right angle L, by the way, ties back to the word bell, which is fire.
And then back to lay.
And back to ley lines. Ley, E-L-I-G-H, ley, and into Bellinus, goddess of fire, all this sort of stuff. Okay. Big clue here. Yeah? Okay.
Right, yeah, go on, carry
Think
on.
of those 2 points as well. I'll bring in the quantum at this point. In the DVD, I'll kind of bring it in later on. But those 2 points are actually kind of vibrating points, aren't they?
Yes.
Which is what we said. They
Yes.
were kind of points
Yes.
that effectively you can stretch them apart, you can put them together. The vibration creates a sine wave.
Right.
Can you think about that?
Yes.
Imagine a pendulum hanging, okay? As you swing it from side to side, as it hits the top part of its swing, it slows down, gets faster in the middle, slows down, gets faster in the middle, slows down each swing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you create a kind of line like that. 2 points going like that does exactly the same between them. So you've got effectively a particle, because you've got that vibration, you've got that physicality, if you like, but at the same time you've got a wave, because you've got the wave function, the fact that they create a standing wave, yeah? Not a
Right,
standing
okay.
wave. Oof, that's something else that comes in later on. So
Yeah,
you're with
take
me
it
so
slowly.
far?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, okay. Now, it's kind of quite good that Jenny's here, because effectively Jenny is becoming kind of the listener, aren't you? You're not just the interviewer, you're the listener. So what it means is that you get to ask the questions that everyone else who's listening to this interview are going, woo, what's that about?